David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Tonight, the breaking news coming in now, the alarming new images this evening amid the chaos and fear with the planned surge of ICE agents in Minneapolis. Protesters and federal authorities clashing, the tear gas, and now the workers arrested at a Target. Video obtained by a local outlet showing DHS agents arresting 2 employees, a state lawmaker insisting they are both U.S. citizens, and the new threat tonight from President Trump. Also breaking at this hour, the violent crackdown on protesters in Iran taking another chilling turn tonight. This young Iranian man, now reportedly among thousands, facing possible execution as early as tomorrow. Tonight, President Trump now urging Iranians to keep protesting, to take over your institutions if possible. And President Trump's warning if the executions take place. Ian Pannell standing by in the region for us. The breaking headline tonight back here in the U.S., actor Timothy Busfield, famous for roles in The West Wing, 30-something in Field of Dreams, surrendering to authorities what he's accused of. Tonight, President Trump touring a Ford factory in Detroit amid new inflation numbers this evening showing the prices of coffee, beef, and candy up. The president declaring an economic boom. And tonight, the images now making headlines, what President Trump did when he was heckled by a worker at the factory. What that worker said, how the president responded. Former President Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton defying a House subpoena to testify in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Their scathing letter tonight to the committee saying every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough. The controversial creator of the Dilbert comic strip has died. Scott Adams waging a public battle with prostate cancer. His final message to fans tonight. A police officer injured in a fiery ambush. Surveillance video showing a driver firing at a police vehicle. We have news on the officer. Tonight, the major headline involving Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin after that loss last night. And Aaron Rodgers and why he walked out of a press conference. Tonight, we're also tracking a powerful storm sweeping its way into the Northeast. We have the forecast. We'll time it out. The major cheese recall upgraded at this hour. They're now calling it potentially deadly. And the puppy being trained to save people, what he has now done at just 5 months. You'll see it.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We do begin tonight with the breaking news, the chaos, the anger, the fear intensifying amid a surge of thousands of federal agents across Minnesota. The clashes, the tear gas, and now images tonight of workers being arrested at a Target store. Protesters and federal authorities clashing outside a federal building in St. Paul. Demonstrators setting off fireworks, authorities and firing tear gas into the crowd. Multiple people arrested. Tonight, video obtained by a local outlet, Bring Me the News it's called, showing DHS agents arresting 2 employees at a Target in Richfield. A state lawmaker now saying they are both U.S. citizens. And those disturbing images fueling much of this, Renee Good, the mother of 3 shot and killed in her SUV during an immigration crackdown. Tonight, we have learned multiple federal prosecutors working out of Minnesota have now resigned amid pressure from the Trump administration, they say, to focus the shooting investigation on Renee Good and not the agent who shot her in the head. Tonight, President Trump now warning of a, quote, day of reckoning and retribution that it's coming over opposition to his immigration policies. ABC's Faith Abubey leading us off tonight from Minneapolis.
Tonight, violent ICE operations escalating in the Twin Cities despite a lawsuit demanding they stop. Agents ripping a woman out of this vehicle. She tells them she's disabled. Agents also clashing with protesters and leading a man in shorts and a t-shirt away from a house. It's been nearly a week since ICE agent Jonathan Ross shot and killed Renee Good. The Department of Justice has called the killing justified and is not cooperating with state or local agencies on their investigation. And tonight, ABC News has learned that at least 4 federal prosecutors working out of Minnesota have resigned over concerns the department is focusing on investigating Renee Good, who the administration has called a domestic terrorist. On Monday, Minnesota and the Twin Cities filed lawsuits alleging agents were told to, quote, push the envelope of immigration enforcement tactics. President Trump responding to that lawsuit on Truth Social, writing, quote, Minnesota Democrats love the unrest that the anarchists and professional agitators are causing. And, quote, fear not, great people of Minnesota, the day of reckoning and retribution is coming. The ICE agents have been here since December. Video obtained by Bring Me the News shows agents arresting 2 workers at a Minnesota Target last week. A state lawmaker says they were U.S. citizens. Agents were first deployed to go after Minnesota's undocumented Somali immigrant population. President Trump has called Somalis garbage. And today, the Department of Homeland Security announcing they're revoking the temporary protected status for thousands of Somali refugees, ordering them to leave the country by March 17th. Secretary Noem declaring that conditions in Somalia have improved and allowing Somali nationals to remain temporarily in the United States is contrary to our national interests. Late today, President Trump went even further.
We're also going to revoke the citizenship of any naturalized immigrant from Somalia or anywhere else who is convicted of defrauding our citizens.
We spoke with several Somali immigrants today, including this woman who told me she's a U.S. citizen.
They're supposed to go back by March 17th or leave the country. Why do you think that's a problem?
It's a problem because there's no place to go back there. I don't think so. It's not safe to go back right now.
And David, there is anxiety here. People we spoke to are on edge, but community activists are mobilizing people for a mass demonstration here next week to force ICE out. They're urging no school, no work, no shopping on January 23rd. David.
Faith Abubey in Minneapolis again tonight for us. Faith, thank you. There is also breaking news tonight out of Iran at this hour. The violent crackdown on protesters there taking a chilling turn tonight. A young Iranian man now reportedly among thousands facing possible execution as early as tomorrow. Tonight, President Trump urging Iranians to, quote, keep protesting and take over your institutions if possible. And ABC News just moments ago reaching the family of this young Iranian man tonight and what they're now saying about their loved one potentially being targeted. Ian Pannell from the region again tonight for us.
Tonight, this is the face of the young Iranian facing imminent execution, according to activists. 26-year-old Irfan Soltani, a young man into sports and fashion, an Iranian non-profit sharing this image seen around the world. He's among more than 10,000 arrested, with fears the first wave of executions could start tomorrow. Tonight, President Trump warning if the regime starts hanging people, will take very strong action, vowing help is on the way.
All Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you.
The death toll surging, human rights groups saying at least 2,000 killed, and U.S. officials expecting it to be even higher. New videos emerging online, despite a near-total communications blackout, showing dramatic street clashes between an unarmed crowd and state officers in the western city of Urmia. Kervan Gafaitim witnessed the start of the protest while visiting his family in Iran. He's just returned to France.
You can literally see the whole population at the beginning, the whole population of Tehran outside. And this is also very important, even religious people.
For the first time tonight, state-controlled media acknowledging the high death toll, calling the protesters terrorists, showing video of the destruction, burned out cars and buildings.
David, we just heard from a relative of the young man, Irfan Soltani, who's facing execution, telling ABC News he's such a kind soul and so compassionate to people. None of the accusations by the regime are true. Meanwhile, President Trump tonight saying he's getting accurate numbers for those killed, warning he'll act accordingly. David.
Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, watching this very closely for us. Thank you, Ian. Back here in the U.S. tonight, the investigation into actor Timothy Busfield taking a disturbing turn now. Famous for roles in The West Wing, 30-something, and Field of Dreams, now surrendering to authorities, facing child sex abuse allegations. What the actor is now saying in a video message. Here's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, actor-director Timothy Busfield, known for his roles on hit shows 30-something and The West Wing.
I've only been a White House reporter for 7 years. I appreciate you clearing that up.
Has now turned himself into police, charged with sex crimes against a pair of child actors he directed, releasing this video to TMZ.
They're all lies, and I did not do anything to those little boys, and I'm going to fight it.
According to the arrest warrant, the suspected abuse allegedly happened in New Mexico during the filming of the TV series The Cleaning Lady.
Just trying to help out. I don't need that kind of help.
Albuquerque police claim the victim's parents reported the case to Child Protective Services, saying the alleged abuse started when the boys were 7 years old and lasted more than a year. Investigators claim the mother told them Busfield had the boys call him Uncle Tim, and one of the boys said Tim would come into the bedroom on the movie set. Police allege that child was later diagnosed with PTSD, and his therapist reported the boy was having nightmares about the director touching him. Earlier today, U.S. Marshals launched a search for Busfield in New York's Catskill Mountains, where he lives with his wife, actress Melissa Gilbert. Busfield says he was already driving to New Mexico.
I got the call Friday night. I had to get a lawyer. Saturday, I got in a car and drove 2,000 miles to Albuquerque.
In response to the allegations, NBC is pulling an upcoming episode of Law & Order SVU, where Busfield was set to play a judge, and Warner Brothers, which produced The Cleaning Lady, is promising to cooperate with law enforcement.
David, Melissa Gilbert's publicist says she stands with and supports her husband. Timothy Busfield is expected to be arraigned on these charges tomorrow. David.
Trevor Ault with us tonight. Trevor, thank you. This evening, President Trump touring a Ford factory in Detroit amid new inflation numbers this evening, showing the prices of coffee, beef, and candy up. The president declaring an economic boom. And tonight, the images of the president at that factory also making headlines. What President Trump did when he was heckled by a worker at the factory, what the worker said, and how the president responded, the gesture the president made. Here's Mary Bruce tonight.
Tonight, President Trump touring a Ford factory in Michigan, painting a rosy picture of the economy.
The Trump economic boom is officially begun.
But new numbers out today show inflation up 2.7% since this time last year. Gas prices are down, but household staples like coffee up nearly 20%, ground beef up more than 15%, candy up 10%. The typical American household now spending $184 more a month to purchase the same goods and services as a year ago.
One of our top priorities in this mission is promoting greater affordability.
The president blaming Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell for not further lowering interest rates.
If I had the help of the Fed, it would be easier, but that jerk will be gone soon.
Trump's Justice Department has launched a criminal investigation into Powell and renovations of Fed buildings. Powell says it's part of the president's pressure campaign. And tonight, J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon sounding the alarm, saying everyone we know believes in Fed independence, and anything that chips away at that is probably not a great idea. Top Republicans also skeptical.
If the Justice Department is pursuing something, I hope they have a smoking gun or something, because I don't think you trifle with the Federal Reserve, with the central bank.
Today, I asked the president.
They say the investigation into Jerome Powell is going to undermine confidence in the Fed. Do you approve of this investigation?
He's billions of dollars over budget, so he either is incompetent or he's crooked. I don't know what he is, but he certainly doesn't do a very good job.
As he toured the factory today, Trump heckled by a man who shouted pedophile protector. The president responding with what seemed to be an expletive, then appearing to give the man the finger. The White House tonight saying the man was, quote, in a complete fit of rage, and the president gave an appropriate and unambiguous response. The president making his economic pitch there in Michigan after spending the last several weeks focused on foreign affairs. But Trump and Republicans know well that the midterms are quickly approaching and that the economy is the top issue for voters. David.
Mary Bruce at the White House tonight. Mary, thank you. Meantime, across town, the showdown on Capitol Hill tonight. Former President Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton defying a House subpoena to testify in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Tonight, the Clintons' scathing letter to the committee saying every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country. Here's Rachel Scott tonight.
Tonight, Bill and Hillary Clinton refusing to testify before the Republican-led House committee investigating sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, calling the committee's subpoena legally invalid. In a blistering letter, the former president and Secretary of State declaring every person has to decide when they have seen or had enough and are ready to fight for this country, its principles, and its people, no matter the consequences. For us, now is that time. The Republican committee chair James Comer now threatening to hold the former president in contempt.
We will move next week in the House Oversight Committee markup to hold former President Clinton in contempt of Congress.
House Speaker Mike Johnson sounding fully on board.
I think clearly he's defied a subpoena of Congress. I'm not sure what the other remedy would be. I mean, it's a contempt. It shows contempt for Congress.
In their extraordinary 4-page letter, the Clintons warning Republicans, you are on the cusp of bringing Congress to a halt to pursue a rarely used process literally designed to result in our imprisonment. Former President Clinton was friendly with Epstein, but he has never been accused of any wrongdoing. And the White House Chief of Staff told Vanity Fair President Trump was wrong to claim there was incriminating evidence about Clinton in the Epstein files. President Trump himself had a long friendship with Epstein. And today, Republicans were asked why he hasn't been called in to testify.
He answers questions every day about Epstein.
But the Clintons say the Republican mission is clear, writing, what you are doing is trying to punish those you see as your enemies and to protect those you think are your friends. Republicans in the House Oversight Committee plan to move forward with a resolution to hold Bill Clinton in contempt of Congress next week. It would then head to the House for a full vote and could lead to prosecution by the Justice Department. David.
Rachel Scott live on the Hill for us. Thank you, Rachel. Tonight, the controversial creator of the Dilbert comic strip has died following a public battle with prostate cancer. Scott Adams, known as the mind behind the office worker named Dilbert that spawned a TV series and, of course, the comic strip. Tonight, his family sharing Adams died after his fight against prostate cancer that spread to his bones. His comments on race drawing condemnation, newspapers dropped his comic strip. He said later in life he found religion. Scott Adams was 68. When we come back here tonight, we are tracking a storm sweeping its way into the Northeast. We'll time it out for you. Also ahead, the images right here, a police officer targeted amid this fiery ambush. A surveillance video showing a driver firing at that vehicle. We have news on the officer tonight. Also, a major cheese recall this evening. It's now been upgraded. They're calling this potentially deadly, and we'll have the details in a moment. And the news tonight involving Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. After the loss last night, what a storied run for him, but his announcement. And Aaron Rodgers and why he walked out of that press conference. A lot more news ahead. We'll be right back. Tonight, a police officer targeted in a fiery ambush in South Carolina. Surveillance video showing a car approaching a police vehicle in Greenville. Suddenly, shots are fired, massive sparks right there. Officials say the suspect, David Lane, led deputies on a chase and exchanged gunfire. The suspect was later found dead inside his car. The injured officer is now out of the hospital tonight. This evening, a consumer alert, a cheese recall over listeria concerns. The recall has now been upgraded to the FDA's highest risk category. The 20-state recall affecting Pecorino Romano now reclassified to Class 1, which means it's potentially deadly. The FDA says the designation signals the cheese could cause, quote, serious adverse health consequences or death. The cheese was sold under the Ambriola, Members Mark, Locatelli, and Boar's Head brands. We have much more on our website for you. When we come back tonight, we are tracking a storm sweeping its way into the Northeast. We'll have the forecast in just a moment. And then the major headline involving Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin tonight, and Aaron Rodgers, too, why he walked out of that press conference in a moment here. To the index tonight, a potential storm on track to sweep through the Great Lakes and parts of the Northeast. A system expected to bring a wintry mix on tap to get started late Wednesday into Thursday. Rain and snow and a surge of cold air all on the way. The heaviest snow totals are expected from Michigan right across there to upstate New York. The end of an era in Pittsburgh tonight. Head coach Mike Tomlin stepping down from the Steelers. Tomlin ending his 19-year run following last night's playoff loss to the Houston Texans. The loss also signaling the possible end of Aaron Rodgers' career. Rodgers defending coach Tomlin abruptly walking out of a press conference after being asked a second straight question about the coach. When we come back here tonight, the puppy being trained to save people and what he can already do at 5 months old. You'll see it. Finally tonight here, the pup on patrol, America Strong. Tonight in Snowmass Village, Colorado, an incredible sight. The ski patroller and her new recruit. A 5-month-old golden retriever, Benji, getting a ride to work on the back of his trainer. And they've gone viral tonight. Benji is the newest Aspen Snowmass Patrol recruit, and they hope a future avalanche rescue dog. He's a good boy. For months now, his owner and trainer, ski patroller Louise Zemlicka, has been acclimating Benji to the slopes as part of their on-mountain canine program. Building his confidence, getting him used to the ski lifts, his vests, the snow, loud noises, uneven surfaces. Training to ride still on the toboggan in the wind and snow. And wearing goggles to protect his eyes. And going through intensive search and rescue training with the Colorado Rapid Avalanche Deployment Program, learning how to find lost skiers in the snow. If all goes well, they tell us he'll be ready by 2 years old. But look at this at 5 months. pretty comfortable already. And tonight here,
hi, David.
Benji and his owner, trainer Louise, on a hike. Turns out this is their well-deserved day off.
Our goal is to get him certified as an avalanche dog, and he will be searching for people involved in an avalanche rescue situation. If you're out skiing in snow mask, come say hi.
Wow, thank you for what you do, and the pup too. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the third year in a row.